let's hear about the private sector's climate action and how it contributes to the country's climate agenda and how they can help address the global goals of climate action. From the SM Group, please welcome the President of SM Engineering, Design and Development Corporation, Mr. Hans See Jr.
Good morning. Secretary Loizaga, WW Chairperson Isabel Garcia, the rest of the WWF board, to my friends from the private and public sector, and especially to my SM family, a very good morning again. When we speak of climate change, we often view it as a global issue that doesn't affect our everyday lives. When increasing temperatures are mentioned, we imagine melting Arctic sea ice or the blistering heat in a remote desert across the globe. Yet the impacts of climate change can't be more real as we speak today and be more personal to you and me. Just a few days ago, the global community concluded discussions on climate action in COP27. Among the many critical issues discussed, two key takeaways stood out for me. The first, the urgency for a united, accelerated effort to reduce carbon emissions should we still make our 1.5 degrees Celsius dream a reality. And second, the need to help developing countries most vulnerable to climate change thrive above the devastating impact of climate change. Let's talk about the first issue on climate change action, which is mitigation. Is our dream of 1.5 degrees Celsius slowly vanishing on the horizon? The key to decarbonization is the systemic shift of our energy use and sourcing. At SM, we have always made sure that our properties are energy efficient, some of which today are some of the first to be LEED certified in the country, such as our SM Aura and the hotel we're in right now, the Conrad Hotel, both of which are LEED Gold certified. But even before LEED was an idea, energy savings for SM was always an important topic because of its impact on business. Business and environment go hand in hand because energy usage means cost. Second, we accelerated our shift to renewable energy sources. This we did even as the market faced a lack of renewable energy supply due to the lack of technology and investment in the field. This year, SM Prime Holdings is committed to deliver on its goal to increase its renewable energy portfolio to more than 50%. We recently announced a long-term deal with Aboitiz Power for clean energy supply. This long-term contract will power SM Prime properties, including shopping centers, leisure homes, offices, hotels, and other establishments under the Retail Competition and Open Access, also known as the RCOA, by year-end. Thirdly, aside from the multitudes of trees we have planted nationwide, we have made concerted efforts in rehabilitating mangroves above 10 hectares in Hamila Cove and planting more in Pampanga and other sites to help sequester carbon emissions. Lastly, we signed on to support the Task Force for Climate-Related Financial Disclosures to give us guidance on how to manage our climate-related risks and to look at the opportunities associated with the mitigation and adaptation activities required to address climate impacts. One of these opportunities is decarbonization and create science-based targets for decarbonization, of which we are working with WWF. While these efforts are good, are they enough? This brings us to the second issue that surfaced in the recent COP27 meeting. How can developing countries cope with the damages and losses brought about by climate change? Now, this holds a special place in SM. Long before these issues found center stage, we at SM have had a strong focus on climate resiliency. For more than 60 years now, we touch the lives of millions of Filipinos every day. Beyond being with our communities, customers, and employees during the seasons of festivity like Christmas, we are also with them during times of calamities and disasters. And it's during these times that we witness the most touching stories of how climate change affects the people we serve every day. As an engineer, I am passionate about designing things that work, that help solve problems. I appreciate the complexity of systems, but I also need to think in very practical terms. My job requires understanding physical, structural, and societal limits. If something is not up to standard, then it is not. There is no pwede na. Otherwise, public safety is at risk. To illustrate, communities in Masinag, Antipolo understood what climate change was about. Every time it rains, the families would see the floodwaters rise, and this happened to them year after year. Imagine living in a community like this. You would likely pray that every time it rained, it would not reach your house. Which is why when we built SM Masinag, we incorporated a rainwater catchment facility with a 17,000 cubic meter water capacity, equivalent to 7 Olympic-sized swimming pools. The two communities connected their drainage systems to the shopping center, which is equipped with 3 30-horsepower submersible pumps, which are then used to pump out the accumulated rainwater when the times are better. Today, families can adapt to the impact of increasing typhoons and rainfall without having to fear the loss of their homes and the safety of their loved ones. Another proof that when you build it right, build it well, you have a better outcome. There was an immense signal number 4 up in Cebu when Typhoon Odette hit last year. There was massive destruction around the area. In fact, some places of Cebu took almost a month to regain electric power. SM Seaside City was there and it opened right away, serving as a refuge among the destruction where residents could seek shelter and recharge themselves and their devices to communicate at this time of need. Building right allowed us to reduce insurance claims and reopen as soon as possible. This demonstrates that good planning does pay off. These stories are not tales of what could be in 2050. These stories are real experiences of how it is today. Climate change is very real in the heart of every Filipino today. We know that the Philippines experiences around 20 typhoons a year, receiving around 2,400 milliliters of water every year, one of the highest in the world. This causes recurring disruptions due to mass evacuations, reducing our GDP by 2 to 8% annually, with a total impact reaching about $20 billion from 1990 to 2020. The tricky part about climate change is that it cuts through the very fiber of our lives, from our food production to our health and well-being, from the economies of our life and to the sustenance of natural resources. This is the reason why, for us at SM, climate adaptation and resilience are keys to thrive above the damage and losses brought about by climate change. We do this by going beyond what regulators expect of us. Disaster risk management and climate resiliency are in our DNA and our way of life. We translate our values into practical solutions by designating a significant portion of our CAPEX to incorporate resiliency and sustainability in our infrastructure designs. A good example is the SM Mall of Asia complex, which we are here today. We designed a seawall to protect us from the potential storm surges or rising sea levels. This is also built on reclaimed land using specialized foundation systems to provide more robust protection against liquefaction and other seismic events. It is also elevated in preparation for climate change issues by 4.5 meters high and has a wave return and drainage channel to prevent flooding as the storm surges. Since 2015, SM Prime has taken a leadership role in UN Arise Philippines through our Executive Committee Chairman and my father, Hans C. As the local network of Arise Global, the private sector alliance for disaster resilient societies, we have been campaigning to make resiliency part of business and local government planning. We also have partnered with the government through the Adopt a City program, focused on building more climate resilient communities in the country. We are also supportive of the Galing Pook Awards, which recognize innovative local government programs that exhibit exemplary service to Filipino communities. As we build the resilience of our cities, we do not leave behind the resilience of the most vulnerable members of our communities. We equip senior citizens, persons with disability, women and children with disaster preparedness, making them adapt better to climate change. These include the construction of climate-resilient school buildings and health centers, as well as training communities with farming techniques for food security. We believe in practical, flexible, realistic, and meaningful actions that make a difference for our customers, our employees, and the communities we serve today. What is also proving very clear is that it makes a lot of economic sense. Going green is at its highest levels of awareness, but it still carries the baggage that it is the more expensive option. That should not be the case. SM is committed to serve communities and millions of Filipinos. The price of status quo according to Egypt COP, is that global temperatures will go up to 2.8 degrees by 2050. That is a disaster scenario that will mean unbearable losses for everyone. Doing nothing is a bigger cost. And the only way we will succeed in bringing down that cost is if we work together. Our government has made bold climate commitments, but they cannot do it alone. The opportunity we see is for a private sector alliance that would accelerate action in both mitigation and adaptation, and help drive the transition to a green economy. We owe it to our children, the millions of Filipinos yet to be born, to succeed in this fight for the climate. Lastly, as an engineer, I am committed to continuous development. As there are always new standards and technologies, let us see today's sessions as ways to get new information and as an opportunity for learning from each other to enrich the concept of what we should do together. What are we proposing? We are proposing for a private secretariat where our goals are simple: to encourage and to make real, tangible improvements to our sectors. To get to the goal, we need a roadmap that is measurable and pragmatic. How do we start? We measure where we are collectively, everything that we do as a private sector. And as we do that, we will now determine the needed steps to get to the end goal and get there fast. Will we make it? We don't know until we measure, but every little bit counts and will be measured. We will do it. Understand us, trust us. We are here with you. We are citizens of this planet. We hear you, and this is how we roll up our sleeves. This is where we invite you, my dear private sector colleagues. Let us take that first step together and journey towards that great transition. Thank you very much.